Well, good morning. Today I'm going to talk about a question that people bring up to try to be funny. Well, ask any question, we'll work on answering it. And someone will always say, well, what's the meaning of life? And kind of snicker. Say, that question? That's not hard. But you often hear a lot of answers. Some people say 42, for those of you that know that reference. Other people think by their behavior, well, the meaning of life is to get all you can for yourself. No one else is going to give it to you. Other people think, well, you just need to find some sort of happiness and go with it. Some people say social justice is the meaning of life, to help those less fortunate. I like a quote from Edgar Allan Poe. He says, "The best things in life make you sweaty." Or, here was an answer to the meaning of life: to crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentations of their women. That's from Conan, the Barbarian. Which wasn't original to him, by the way. The quote is attributed to Genghis Khan, where he says, "To crush your enemies, to see them fall at your feet, to take their horses and goods, and hear the lamentations of their women." Genghis Khan. Yay! So there's different perspectives on the meaning of life. But what complicates it is, if there's no absolute truth, why do you privilege one meaning over another? Why do you say that social justice is better than Genghis Khan's meaning of life? Well, when I look in Christianity, we do say there are some absolutes that God has built into people, and I would say, well, some of that involves social justice, care for your kids, not to crush your enemies and see them driven before you. And I like a quote. This isn't original to me. It's a gentleman named Robert Mulholland. You can find his books on Amazon. A professor of spiritual formation and New Testament. And he sums up the Christian meaning of life in this particular statement: a process of being conformed to the image of Christ for the sake of other people. And I'm going to take this, a process of being conformed to the image of Christ for the sake of other people. I'm going to break it down. First, look at the first part, a process. Meaning, this particular meaning is lifelong. It's a process. It's lifelong. It's not microwave. I think of a quote from The Simpsons where Mel, the bartender, has just bought himself a giant fryer. And he tells Homer, "This thing can flash fry a buffalo in 30 seconds. And Homer goes, "Oh man, I want my buffalo now." Often it seems that's the way we think in the United States and America. We want our gratification fast, our spiritual formation even faster, and we want personal change right away. Now, give me 30 seconds. I think in terms of where I used to work when I would help addicts at the rehabilitation center. All of them wanted to be that person that could pray and find freedom from addiction in a moment. Granted, I saw this happen on a few rare occasions. Miracles do happen. But for the majority of people, they were put on a long-term treatment plan. And it was a day in, day out process of baby steps. Little change by little change by little change. It adds up to big change over time and forming a new person. It's a process. And Christianity is more than assent to doctrine. It's a relationship with Christ. And a relationship takes time, and a relationship is a process. I know my wife a lot better than I did when I first met her. And I can often anticipate what she wants and needs. And the communication is a lot better than when we first got married, simply because of the time we have spent together. It's a process. Secondly, of being conformed. Philippians 2:12-13 states, "Work out your salvation with fear and trembling, for it is God who works in you." If you think about this, it says, you need to work because it's God that's working. So who's doing the work? Well, both. In Christianity, salvation is when you accept Christ, but that's just the very beginning. It says work that out, meaning what you verbally assented to needs to start working out into your personality, your behavior, your ways of thought, your ways of acting. Work into every thought, behavior, emotion, and interaction in your life. And it's a process of mutuality. A lot of it's God wants to do some work on you, and you need to let God do this. Not put up the resistance and say, okay, God, do what you will. And guess what? A lot of this work that God does is through other people. You get on this roller coaster with God, it's all of a sudden start finding yourself in situations that will help you grow. As one of our counselors at the old rehab center would say, we like to pack as many problems as we can onto 200 acres. Why? Well, because by living and working in this farm setting, with all these challenges around them, we can come alongside the addicted individual and show them how do we make right decisions? How do we act correctly when faced by this particular challenge? And you don't like certain other people? Well, guess what? You're going to be put on projects together. And you're going to be learning how to work through these difficulties. It helps. And I think that's where God can really step in and work, when people are willing to work through where the problems are. I was really impressed. I toured a school this week, looking for a school for my child. He'll be going to school soon. Oh, he's getting older. But we were looking at a school, and there was one in Oakland I looked at, and I was really impressed. They focused a lot on group work and different kids working together. A lot of diversity, and one of the teachers said, we find that, and someone asked, well, what do you do when kids have conflict? And they said, we make them work together. And the teachers will come alongside them and teach them how to work through this conflict. And we have these flashcards on how to work through emotional steps and dialogue steps. And given how diverse the school is, the teacher said, we want these conflicts to happen. We want them to come face to face with diversity in different people and know how to work through it and work together. And become mature individuals. A lot of traditional classrooms will say, well, you two are having a problem? Well, I'm going to put you over there, and both of you back to your worksheets. But then, the problems just could come up at recess or after school when the teachers aren't there because the thing hasn't been dealt with. So I was really impressed. They seem to understand the idea that people can mature each other in their differences. And God meets each person in their own individual way. I like to think, well, why go to church? There's all these people I don't like. Well, maybe those people you don't like are the very people that are meant to bring about change within you. Or I heard from one pastor, he was asked a question by someone saying, how do I know what God's designed me to do? And the pastor said, when you go to church, what makes you the most angry? And that's probably what you've been designed to work on. For example, if I'm in a church, it really gets under my skin if they have bad teaching. I just want to say, but no, you need to fix that. And the response would be, well, you've probably been designed to be a teacher. Or if you're at church and you think, this church is not doing enough to help the poor, to take on issues of social justice, to be out there working to make a better society. Well, if that's what's irking you, that's probably what you've been designed to step up and start to do. Of being conformed. A process. This takes time. It's a process. And of being conformed where you let God work on you directly and through the people around you. And then you're being conformed to what? It's the image of Christ. To become like Jesus in character, action, emotion, and ultimately your entire being. I A number of years ago, there was a popular fad called WWJD, What Would Jesus Do? I remember I was at a conference, and it was a real interesting individual. It was a smaller group, and a guy at this conference was speaking, and he was a chaplain to the Hells Angels. Yes, they have one. They probably have more than one. And so to his he was in the Hells Angels, and he was a chaplain to them, a pastor. He probably has his work cut out for him. And he was talking to a bunch of kids in high school and junior high. And he asked them, how many of you are wearing WWJD bracelets? And a bunch of kids all raised their hand. Quite a lot of them. And he said, how many of you have read all 4 Gospels? 2, 3 hands stick up. So, you're telling me you all believe what would Jesus do, and none of you have actually read what he did. A conviction moment. First of all, you need to understand what Jesus did do. If you're going to become like him. There's a lot of different stories. There's the times when Jesus turned the other cheek. There's times when he was helping the poor. When people caught in trouble, wrongdoing, or who wanted to change their life, would address them gently and help them come forward, would offer forgiveness. There was also times when he got angry, like with the wealthy and the powerful, and drove the money changers out of the temple, flipping over their tables, saying, all of you get out. This is not a place for this kind of thing. It also knows there's different ways you see Jesus act. How does it apply to me in my situation? That's when you talk about the Holy Spirit, the presence of God with you, leading you how to be like Christ in each individual situation you find yourself in as you are being conformed to this image. One, you need to find out what Jesus was like. And 2, let God show you what Jesus is like. And then for what reason? Christianity is not just afterlife insurance. Only a small portion of the Bible talks about heaven. Yes, it's true, it's there. And there's a lot of it. It's like, okay, how do you live out the Christian life in the day-to-day? This isn't just afterlife insurance. The meaning, a process of being conformed to the image of Christ for the purpose, not of, I'm going to become perfect, no. The purpose is for the sake of other people. You are being transformed so that you can be salt and light and a benefit to the world around you for the sake of other people. To serve others. Servant leadership. That is a prime characteristic of Jesus, where he led from behind through helping others. And guess what? It means helping other people, even if they never become Christian. That's serving with an ulterior motive. It's to serve no matter what. Feed the hungry. Clothe those who have none. Offer encouragement. Help people find freedom in their life from the things that they wish to be freed from. Talk about meaning of life. I like the verse Micah 6:8. Basically asks this question: what is the meaning of life? To do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with God. And then the way Mulholland puts it, the way this is fleshed out, is the process of being conformed to the image of Christ for the sake of other people. That incorporates the doing justice, the loving mercy. And what's interesting is it doesn't mention afterlife. Yes, it's there. Yes, it's true. But when you're talking about the meaning, the process of being conformed to the image of Christ for the sake of other people. Dear Lord, I pray that you'll help us in every situation you're in every situation that gets tossed our way, to know how to act in a Christ-like way, to truly bring benefit to the other people, to other people around us. To know that it's not about us, it's not about getting what we need, but it's about giving, so that the world becomes a better place. Help us know how to do that. in every situation we find ourselves in. And we, in doing this, find ourselves changed even more so that we can take on and give in even bigger ways. Pray all of this in Christ's name.